Right then, my first ever Q&A video. So I put on my social media platforms last week asking you lot to ask me questions so I could answer them and make a video about it. So we're just gonna get straight into the questions. Lewis Gutteridge has asked me two, which is pretty greedy, mate. So the first question he asked me is, what are your goals for yourself in bodybuilding before 2022? So I don't actually have bodybuilding goals because I'm not a bodybuilder. I have no aspirations to be a bodybuilder. But what I would say is that I just want to get better at all my lists I'm doing. I just want to, basically, I don't have like an end goal. My goal is just to improve each year. Like, I have no aspirations, like I say, to be a bodybuilder and step on stage. The only thing I'm ever going to prep for is probably a beach on Ibiza. So the second question is, what is the hardest part of everything you do? That's a tough one. I think in regards to fitness, bodybuilding, like the hardest thing for me, there isn't really anything I struggle to do. Like, I don't find it hard to turn up to the gym or anything like that. Like, I look forward to that, and sticking to my diet I don't think it's hard. Getting enough sleep, I'm pretty disciplined. I'd say the hardest thing for me personally is dealing with being subpar. Like, no matter who you are, you're gonna have bad sessions, and when I drop a rep on an exercise, obviously I'm educated enough to know why it happens and you can't be at your best every session, but my mindset is that I want to be the best every time I go in the gym, and some days I'm not, and it really just is frustrating, because when you're nailing all the variables and you know your progress isn't what you want it to be, it can really annoy me sometimes. So I'd say, yeah, dealing with, you know, subpar performance in the gym. Okay, the next question from Harry BMX_N. He's asked me, if you had a topping for your pizza, what would it be? I'd probably say the most frequent thing I select from a pizza menu, I'd probably say, is a barbecue chicken, although I do just like a plain margarita. So if I had to choose one, barbecue chicken. I'm gonna do two more questions and then I'm gonna go for a walk and continue answering the questions. So the first one is actually from my sister, so Lauren_Holt. How do you get an 8-pack? Firstly, I've never had an 8-pack. I've been pretty lean, but I've never had 8 abs. That's just pretty crazy. I don't have the genetics for an 8-pack. My muscle insertions don't allow that. So that's the first thing. You've got to be, you've got to have the genetics. But obviously, to get an 8-pack, it's obvious what you got to do. Well, just to get a 6-pack, 8-pack, whatever, it's easy. All you've got to do, starve yourself, skinny coffees, never eat, weight loss shakes, all that stuff, 50,000 steps a day. Always remember to do intermittent fasting. Never eat before 11 AM because you'll get obese. That's what I'd say. I'm joking. Obviously, you just gotta get leaner. You just gotta lose the body fat. And like I was saying about like muscle insertions and whether you can get an 8-pack, some people will, some people won't. Me, for example, I won't, but I'd say, like, in terms of genetics, one of my better things about my genetics is that my ab insertions are good. Like, my abs are really symmetrical, so when I get lean, my midsection looks really good. There's obviously other like parts of my physique that I don't have a genetic advantage over other people, but that's fine. It swings and roundabouts. That's the same for everyone. So if you want to get like abs, just lose body fat, get leaner, and just see what you look like. And I think people stress too much about like, oh, my abs aren't perfectly symmetrical and stuff. Like, regardless of whether your abs are symmetrical, when you get lean, you will look good as long as you've got enough foundation and muscle there. So don't stress about it, just get lean. Obviously, once you've built the muscle, don't try and get shredded when you've not got that foundation first. But yeah, I've gone on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, let's get on to the next question. Okay, next question is from Jeffrey White. So he's the only person that has asked a question on my last YouTube video. I asked people to comment on that video and ask me a question. He's the only person that did that, so I've got a lot of respect for you, mate. So his question was, favourite fitness influencers. He likes Will Tennyson, Jesse James West, and he's also asked my favourite superhero. Firstly, I'm not gonna lie, with the superhero thing, I don't really have a favourite superhero, so I could obviously just go on Google and just, I don't know, say someone like, I don't know, Spider-Man or whoever, but I'm not really asked about superheroes, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't have one. I hope that's not a disappointment. In terms of favourite fitness influencers, you mentioned Will Tennyson, Jesse James West. I think they're both pretty funny. I mean, I don't know what Jesse has for breakfast, but he has so much energy. I've got to be in the mood to watch him, but yeah, he is a pretty funny guy. I do like him. Will Tennyson, he comes out with some funny one-liners. Both of them as well know how to train. They the advice they give out is pretty sound from what I've heard. So yeah, they're both pretty good, entertaining as well, which is what we want. In terms of my favourite fitness influencers, to be fair, like, it's a mixture. Let me have a look on my subscriptions now on YouTube. I'll let you know. Joey D. Obviously, everyone knows Joe Delaney. I think he's a pretty sound guy. I feel like when you watch his videos, it feels like you're just sitting in the pub or something with your mates just talking. He's not like, he doesn't come across like a lot of YouTubers where they're trying to be like some kind of TV presenter. He's just well normal. I feel like what you see on his videos is what you'd get in person. So I like Joey D. Josh Bridgman, he's like the bodybuilding style type of videos. I learn a lot from his videos, so I like him. Will Tennyson, Alpha Destiny. Matt Does Fitness, some of his videos are pretty decent. I mean, all his food challenges get a bit repetitive, but you know, I think he's a pretty sound guy. Cuba, so another bodybuilding channel which I quite like. Very knowledgeable guy, so I'll watch him for just to educate myself further. Mike Thurston, watch him sometimes. There's quite a few, like, I don't know who my favourite is. Right, just got out of my car, getting some steps in, and I'm going to continue with these questions. So, next one is from, well, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. I think it's Haifi Zahir. Again, apologies if I pronounce that wrong. He's asked, what is your preference when cutting, reducing calories or adding in cardio? I'd say a mixture of both, but what I would say is when I go into a cut, it's usually after a gaining phase. Well, every time it's been from a gaining phase, and in a gaining phase my calories get really high. Usually they exceed 4,000. So all I do to start losing body fat is literally just stop force feeding. I'll drop, say, 500 calories, 600 calories, and body fat will literally just start falling off me. And I'll continue dropping food till, I don't know, maybe I'm on about 3,200 calories. And then I'll just increase expenditure through usually steps. I don't like doing cardio too much, not because like I don't enjoy doing it, although it's not enjoyable. It's just because I feel like it can negatively affect my recovery and take away from me being productive in the gym and holding on to lean body mass. So usually I would drop food, then I would increase expenditure, and then once my expenditure is at like 10k steps and I need to like dig a little bit further, then I might drop food again a little bit, but I never really let my calories go below, say, 2,600. Okay, next question is from Arthur. So he's asked me 3 questions. What are your middle long-term goals in fitness? So I kind of answered this earlier, and I don't really have an end goal. I just want to get better each year, just gain a bit more muscle each year. I don't really want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to get freakishly big, but you know, just keep getting better, keep pushing boundaries, see how strong I can get, how lean I can get, just get better. So sorry if that's a bit vague, but that's the truth. Second question, he's asked your biggest mistakes in your journey. So I'd say in the first year and a half, I made plenty of mistakes. Overtraining being one, that was a big one. And I'd say eating too much in a bulk, eating not enough in a cut. And his third question is, what do your deloads look like? So every 12 to 16 weeks, I just have 5 days off completely from the gym. I know a lot of people like to do a devolume session where they go into the gym and train with the same sets and reps but using 50% of the weight they are using, or they go into the gym and keep the intensity the exact same but they perform half the amount of sets. And for me personally, I think to recover properly, I think it's best just to have 4 or 5 days off away from the gym, not just physically and centrally, but mentally as well. I'm going to walk back to my car and answer the rest because it's absolutely freezing. But while I'm walking there, I'm going to answer this next question that, you know what, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, mate, and I don't want to attempt because I don't want to embarrass myself and I don't want you to get offended. So he's asked, perhaps the benefits and the different effects of doing a 5-day split instead of a 3-day full body. I'd say that you can get great results off a full body split 3 times a week, but if you're doing something more, I'm not saying more is better, but if you've got more time in your life to dedicate that time to something, you're going to be able to get better results from it. And what I mean by this is that if you're training 3 times a week, you can't fit 5 sessions into 3. So what you do when you're doing a 3-day-a-week split, you prioritize the movements you're doing so you get the most out of your session. But when you're training only 3 times a week, it's hard to get every movement pattern in and train that muscle group twice a week. So it's impossible unless you're doing like ridiculous amount of sets every session. So like I said, you can get great results off 3-day splits, but if someone's going to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, they can cover all the movement patterns and train a little bit more effectively, I'd say, to get the most out of every muscle group. Tell you what, it is fresh out here. So next question before I do go in the car, although I said that on the last question, but yeah, this question is from David's Challenges. So hope you're doing all right, mate, first and foremost. And your question is, how long have you been a personal trainer? So I qualified actually 2 years ago now, or just over 2 years ago, and I'm still waiting to start my job that I was successful in applying to over a year ago. So because of COVID, obviously with the gyms closing, we've had to push my start date back, but I'm hoping to start next month once all the stuff at HR has been sorted. Right then, back in the cockpit, slightly warmer, and we're going to answer this last question from Blake Jelly, and he's asked me best way to get a fat pump. So obviously that can be a mistake to try and, you know, gain muscle just chasing a pump, but I'm not going to go into that and just answer your question of what is the best way to get a fat pump. So the main things you've got to consider is how you're training. Don't be training in low rep ranges. Think about bodybuilders that before they go on stage, they just do loads of high rep work stuff. They're just like backstage with bands, just pumping up the muscles. So high rep sets, like 12 plus, towards, you know, almost like whatever you want really. So high rep sets, and the other thing to consider is what you're eating. So make sure your glycogen stores are going to be full, so consume plenty of carbohydrates. I'd say those 2 things are the most important thing for you to do to get a good pump in the gym. I'd say as well, obviously, keeping on top of your other variables like staying hydrated and getting enough sleep. That's going to help as well. There are some foods as well that help release nitric oxide. I can't remember exactly what foods they are, and that helps increase blood flow to the muscles and stuff. So there are certain foods that can help, but it's not really worth stressing over too much. Like if your goal is to gain muscle, then don't just like chase the pump in the gym. Obviously metabolic stress is a key component to hypertrophy, but you know, do that towards, you know, the end of your session or when you're finishing a certain muscle group off. So that is my answer to that. And that is my last question as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm not going to long out this outro. I've answered like 15 questions, I think. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to drop this video a like, comment on the video your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. I'm thinking that the next video will probably be a training session video. It might not be though, I have no plans, so we'll just see. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.